The ending of Demon City brings a lot of emotional closure, yet it also leaves plenty of unanswered questions, especially regarding the fate of Sakata. If you haven't watched the movie yet, then be careful, because there will be spoilers, and if you've watched the movie, you know it's a brutal tale of revenge, betrayal, and the complexities of morality. As the movie culminates, we're left questioning whether Sakata truly gets the redemption he sought, and if he survives his final battle. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In this video, we're going to break down the events that led to the ending, discuss what happens to Sakata, and explore the potential future for Shinjo and its residents. Let's dive into the plot and answer the crucial question: is Sakata dead or alive at the end of Demon City? The backstory: Sakata's life before the chaos. Before we get to the bloody finale, we need to understand the main character Sakata and why this entire revenge journey starts. Sakata was once a ruthless hitman working for the infamous Yakuza group, Fujita. However, he had enough of that life and wanted to leave it behind, yearning for a fresh start as a family man. After successfully eliminating the last Yakuza faction in the city of Shinjo, Sakata believed his life was finally on the right track, but that hope was short-lived. One night, Sakata returns home to find his wife, Aoi, and his daughter, Ryo, being held hostage by the Kimengumi, a powerful criminal syndicate with ties to the underworld. They saw Sakata as a threat to their dominance in the city, and they needed to get rid of him and his family to ensure their power wasn't challenged. In a shocking twist, Sakata's wife, Aoi, was killed by the Kimengumi, while his daughter, Ryo, miraculously survived. The bullet that was meant for Ryo hit her doll instead, sparing her life. Meanwhile, Sakata, who had been shot in the head, was left in a vegetative state for 12 years. That's where the story begins to pick up again. Sakata wakes from his coma, filled with rage and an unrelenting need for vengeance. Sakata's resurrection from coma to killing machine. After 12 years, Sakata wakes up from his coma with one goal: to destroy the Kimengumi and avenge his family. His first target is Kotaro Shinozuka, the chief of police, who is secretly a member of the Kimengumi. Sakata's violent rampage begins here, and he makes sure to take down everyone who played a role in the destruction of his family. He doesn't waste any time hunting down those responsible, including Fujita, the man who betrayed him and handed over his address to the Kimengumi. With each kill, Sakata gets closer to his ultimate goal of confronting the syndicate's leaders. Soon, he learns that his daughter Ryo is alive and living a very different life, one that has been heavily influenced by the Kimengumi. Unknowingly, Ryo had been raised to believe that Kantafase, one of the Kimengumi members, was her father. When Sakata reaches out to Officer Yoshifumi Takigawa to find Ryo, he begins the final leg of his journey. However, things take a dramatic turn when Ryo mistakes him for an intruder and shoots him with an arrow. But it's clear Sakata isn't finished. He's determined to reunite with Ryo and destroy the Kimengumi once and for all. The final battle, the mahoroba, and Tsunohara's scheme. Sakata's confrontation with the Kimengumi culminates in an epic showdown at the mahoroba, a massive building owned by the gang. This is where the final act of the movie takes place. Sakata is faced with a horde of armed guards, as well as the terrifying trio of Kanafase, Jin Tsunohara, and Ryu Tsunohara. With each step he takes, the tension builds, and it becomes clear that this is going to be the fight of his life. Sakata doesn't hesitate. He slaughters the henchmen one by one, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. But it's the encounter with Ryo that hits the hardest. When he finally reaches her, it's heart-wrenching to realize that she doesn't recognize him. The years of separation have taken their toll. Jin Tsunohara takes advantage of this moment, knocking Sakata out and capturing him once again. Ryu, the leader of the Kimengumi, revels in his capture. Instead of just killing Sakata and his daughter, he wants to see Sakata unleash the demon inside him. Ryu believes that Sakata has been holding back, and to finally destroy him, Ryu wants Sakata to let go of his inhibitions and give in to his violent side. But before Ryu can execute his plan, Officer Takigawa bursts into the room, guns blazing, to rescue Sakata and Ryo. Sakata versus Ryu, the final duel. What follows is a brutal, no-holds-barred fight between Sakata and Ryu. The fight is intense, with Sakata coming dangerously close to death multiple times. In the end, Sakata manages to take down Ryu, though not without a heavy cost. Sakata loses an arm during the battle, but Ryu loses his head, literally. The final moments of this fight show Sakata, battered and broken, emerging victorious over the man who orchestrated his family's destruction. As Ryo flees the scene with Officer Takigawa, Sakata faces off with one last member of the Kimengumi, Kantafase. In a moment of bitter irony, Ryo returns to the battlefield just in time to deal the final blow to Kantafase, putting an end to the last remaining threat from the Kimengumi. Sakata's death, a sad farewell. With the Kimengumi's leadership shattered, the scene shifts to a somber farewell. Sakata, having accomplished his mission, uses his dying breath to apologize to Ryo for not being able to protect Aoi. His last words are bittersweet, as he expresses pride in how much Ryo has grown. Sakata dies in peace, knowing that his daughter has survived and will be able to live on, free from the clutches of the Kimengumi. However, his death isn't the end of the story. In a strange twist, while Sakata's death marks the end of one chapter, it leads to the beginning of another. Ryo's revenge, completing the saga. After Sakata's death, the authorities move in to clean up the mess, but one thing stands out. Jin Tsunohara is still alive. He's been masquerading as Ryu, and through the chaos, he manages to win the mayoral election, using his scars and fabricated backstory to secure his position of power. But Ryo is far from done. After Sakata's death, she's driven by an unrelenting need to finish what her father started. She's no longer the innocent child she once was. She's learned the art of revenge, and is now fully prepared to take down the Kimengumi once and for all. Ryo's final act of revenge comes when she sneaks up on Jin Tsunohara and kills him with 3 precise arrows. The man who orchestrated the downfall of her family, the man who caused so much pain and suffering, is now dead. With Jin's death, Ryo completes the revenge saga not only for her father, but for herself as well. The future of Shinjo is their hope. While Ryo's vengeance brings a sense of closure, it also leaves the door wide open for what comes next. Shinjo, a city once plagued by the Kimengumi, now finds itself at a crossroads. With Jin Tsunohara dead and the Kimengumi dissolved, there is hope for a better future, but that doesn't mean the fight is over. The police force, corrupt and filled with members of the Kimengumi, cannot be trusted to maintain order. It's clear that Ryo will have to step up as the city's protector. With her intelligence, skill, and determination, Ryo is in a unique position to take on the mantle of the Demon of Shinjo, the very role her father once held. Whether she continues her father's legacy as a hitman or becomes a vigilante fighting for justice, the city's future is now in her hands. Is Sakata really dead or alive? So, is Sakata dead or alive at the end of Demon City? The answer is bittersweet. While Sakata does die at the hands of Ryu in the final battle, his spirit lives on through Ryo. His death marks the end of an era, but it's also the beginning of something new. Ryo takes up his mantle, continuing the fight for justice and ensuring that her father's sacrifice was not in vain. Our nerdy thoughts. The ending leaves a lot of room for further exploration. Will Ryo become the new demon of Shinjo, or will she find a different path? What will happen to Shinjo now that the Kimengumi is no more? While there's no official word on a sequel, the story feels like it could continue. If you're interested in seeing where Ryo's journey goes from here, let us know in the comments below. Would you like to see a sequel to Demon City? How do you think the city will rebuild after the fall of the Kimengumi? Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth breakdowns and analyses of your favorite films.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.